Hi everybody, well it's cold here. I was just outside clearing my feeders and filling my feeders. Still tons of common redpolls in my backyard and some of them actually feel really comfortable around me. Check out this video. I was only a foot away when I took it. And stay tuned, David will talk about the Finch Irruption on backyard feeding.
I'm sure that many of you feeding and or watching birds, even in the far south of the US, are absolutely thrilled to experience one of the biggest eruptions of northern finches in recent history. According to finch researchers who monitor the birds annually and write useful reports on their findings, the winter of 2020-21 is known as a superflight. Virtually every species of boreal finch is erupting, meaning they're moving south to find food. These birds include common and hoary redpolls, pine and evening grosbeaks, pine siskins, purple finches, and both red and white-winged crossbills. In some places they're joined by blue jays, red-breasted nuthatches, and Bohemian waxwings. The boreal finches generally rely on the fruits and seeds of conifers and other trees in the expansive forests of Canada. But this food supply is cyclical. In so-called mast years, there's plenty of food to go around and the birds produce copious numbers of youngsters. But this is one of those years when the trees do not yield any sustenance, and so in response to the crash, the built-up population of birds head south as far as they have to go to find food. Many of these species love what we offer in our feeders. But why do the trees undergo these cycles of seed and fruit abundance? Apparently to thwart the squirrels, which would, if left unchecked by food availability, grow their numbers and eat all of the forest fruit and seeds, and thereby prevent any further growth. The mobile birds, on the other hand, can simply head south when the food becomes scarce. To make matters even better for bird lovers, eastern boreal forests are experiencing their largest spruce budworm crop in decades, partly due to COVID preventing forest pest treatment. This has really boosted the numbers of evening grosbeaks and purple finches who love eating spruce budworm. So if you enjoy feeding and are watching birds, this is the year to keep your feeders well stocked and or get out there in nature with your binos. It sure beats spending all of your time watching Netflix.
How many of you still have your Christmas lights up? We do, and sometimes, not every day, we turn them on to cheer us up a little bit. Joanne actually sent us a question because she's heard somewhere that some birds roost next to Christmas lights to stay warm during the night. Let's see what Dr. Bird has to say to that.
Hi, Joanne. You said that you'd heard some third-hand stories of small birds crowding into evergreens bearing Christmas lights to roost on chilly nights, and you were wondering whether the birds might derive some warmth from them. My gut reaction was to say no, but after a little investigation, I've changed my mind. Apparently a woman in Richmond, British Columbia uses Christmas lights to keep the sugar water in her hummingbird feeders from freezing on a sudden cold snap. There was enough heat generated by the lights to not only keep the sugar water thawed in her feeder, but also serve to attract several hummingbirds to it. The birds didn't seem bothered by the lights either. It turns out that 90% of the energy emitted by an incandescent Christmas light is in the form of heat and not in the form of light. That light is created by the electricity heating the tiny filament inside the bulb. But it all depends on whether the Christmas lights that you had heard about were the old incandescent variety or the now more popular LED Christmas lights. You see, the latter don't give off any heat, only light. Therefore, unless we know what lights were in the trees chosen by those roosting birds, we cannot be sure they were deriving any thermal benefits. But it's a nice thought.
In the past, we've talked about different studies on background noise and its effects on birds, but new studies that were just released give insight not only on how birds deal with background noise, but also how crickets, a major food source for many birds, are affected. This study, conducted by Professor Christopher Templeton at Pacific University in Oregon, used traffic noise to measure its effect on zebra finches. It turns out that it took finches 50% longer to remember where they stored food when being exposed to a lot of traffic noise. It also impeded their ability to open treat packets, which they had no issues doing with no noise present. And then another study conducted on 2 spotted tree crickets demonstrates that it took them twice as long to mate with traffic noise in the background. This is actually the first time research has been able to pinpoint exactly the effects of prolonged exposure to traffic noise. And this goes a long way to explain the disappearance or the decline of certain species in really noisy areas. The Cape Cormorant is an endangered bird in South Africa, but for some reason unknown to researchers, an entire colony of chicks was abandoned by their parents. The colony was on Robben Island, which is just off the coast of Cape Town, and normally the island is home to 3,000 breeding pairs. One of the theories is that perhaps there was just not enough food to sustain the entire colony. These birds survive off anchovies, and this year the populations of anchovies is really low. And actually, the abandoned chicks were found half-starved and really dehydrated. Out of 2,000 discovered chicks, unfortunately 800 of them died as soon as they were transferred to the South African Foundation for Conservation of Coastal Birds in Cape Town, but the remaining 1,200 are being nursed back to health by an incredible team of dedicated conservationists. This rescue operation is the second largest ever conducted in South Africa, the first one being the MV Treasure oil spill in 2000. Can you imagine nursing 1,200 chicks? I can't. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania has just announced its first official bird. The Chimney Swift was named the city's official bird by a group of dedicated conservationists who've been fighting to save the Swift's favorite chimney, the chimney of the Masonic Temple in Bethlehem. When Jenny Gleeran heard that the temple was slated for demolition, she approached the project manager and explained that the chimney was home to thousands of swifts during their migrating season. Surprisingly, the developer understood and recognized the importance of the habitat, so he is actually working hard to figure out how to save the chimney or to build a new habitat for swifts. In the meantime, the bird has become so popular with the local population that now the city has an official bird, the Chimney Swift. What a romantic photo contest we had. Let's check out the top 5. Here's the third place, the second place, and the grand prize winner. Congratulations, everybody. March is Duck, Duck, Goose. Good luck, everybody. All right, everybody, time to say goodbye. Please don't forget to identify your birds if you participate in our photo contest. Take care, stay warm and healthy. I'll see you in 2 weeks.